Now there are still some things we need to add to our game over function, namely we need to remove our game as a child. We need to make our game
Now there are
null.
still some things we need to add to
Also,
our game over
our
function.
score
Namely,
display
we
can
need
be
to
removed
our
as a
game
child. We need to make our game null and make
Also,
null as well.
our score display can be removed as a child. But here we have that game over screen
as well.
So let's go to our Flash and go to Library. And in our library,
here we
we
have
have
that
that game over screen
folder.
So let's go to our
screen.
Flash. So yeah, let's see how
library
that was created. In
our
library,
namely,
we have this menus. We
folder
have
and
here
game over screen.
this text field, which is your
let's
score.
see how that
We have
was
this text field, which
created.
is your high score.
Namely,
and then we have this last one,
we
which
have
is test
here,
which is
this
text
the,
field, which is your score.
yes button.
We have this text field, which
basically
is
saying
your
the
high
text.
score.
Yes.
And then we
So,
have this last
we need
one, which
to
is
do
test,
three things. We need to
which is
get our
score, which is put
yes
inside
button,
the score field.
basically
We
saying
have
the
our
text.
high
Yes.
score field.
So,
and we have
need
our
to do
yes
three
button.
things. We need
So,
to get our
let's
score,
go to Flash
which is
Builder,
put inside the
and
score field.
create
We
a
have
new
our
class,
high score field, and we have our yes button.
name it
So,
game
let's
over
go
screen
to
Flash Builder
with a super class of
create
sprite.
a new class.
Don't forget to import the sprite class.
Name
so
it
import
game
flash
over screen
sprite
with a super class of sprite.
Also, we need three
Don't
variables.
forget to
Namely,
import the
sprite
class,
variable.
so
Import
flash
score
dot
field.
sprite.
Another
Also,
one,
we
which
need
is
three
named
variables,
high
namely
score field, a variable named score field, and lastly our button, which is named yes
Another
button,
one,
which is named
high
which
score
is of type
field.
menu button. Also import and
those
lastly our
classes,
button,
or actually
named
class,
yes button
flash dot
text,
which is of type menu
text
button.
field. Also import those classes.
Alright,
or actually
so now
class,
we need to
flash
get
dot
our score.
text
So
dot
add a
text field argument to our constructor as well as going to our main class.
Alright,
and
so now
giving
we
it
need to
so
get
score.
our score. So add a
Now argument to our
let's,
constructor as well as going to our main class.
Let's create
and
a variable which is
giving
going to
it
store our
score.
information so that whenever
Now,
our player plays the game
let's,
again,
we will
let's
have
create
a variable
which
is
store
going to
it.
store
And to
our
do so, we need to
information
use
so
a
that
very
whenever
special
our
player
class naming the
plays the
shared
game
object.
again.
Import flash.
He will
shared
have
object.
a variable which can store it. And to do so, we need to use a very special class named the shared object. So
import flash.net shared
and
object.
let's create that. So
Shared,
so private
object
shared object equals,
and let's create
shared
that. So
object
shared
get local, and we'll
object
give it an ID of active
equals tuts plus
shared object.
Now that we have our shared
object, we need to check if it
ID
has been used in the past. So if there is no shared
plus
object.data,
now that we have our shared object, we need to check if it has been used in the past.
So that means
if there is no
we're now
shared
create that
object.data. So
high score.
that high score equals
if that
to
hasn't
our
been set
score, because
that
it
means
hasn't
that
been used
we're
before.
now going to create
our score
that
is going to be the high score data.
Now,
So that high score equals to our score because it hasn't been used before.
Our high
score
score
is going to be the high score. Now
that
means we've
score
improved
is greater
than
our
our high score. So let's save it. So shared object.data high score.
That means we've
improved our. And now let's display it.
high
So
score.
we'll say.
So let's save
score
it. So
field shared
object
data is the string
high
of our score equals score. The same.
And now let's
display
display
it. So
score
we will
field.
say score field dot text is the string of our score. The same applies for our high score field. And also let's create our button. So we'll say yes button dot set label yes. Also add an event listener to that. And also let's create our button. So we'll say yes button dot set label event dot click yes. And we'll also add an event listener to that. So yes button import that class event listener. Going to import the mouse event class. So import flash and we'll event dot click mouse event. Import that class. So create our onClick function. Going to import the mouse event class. So import flash dot events dot mouse event. Let's create our onClick function. And when we're clicking it, let's dispatch an event, a new event named play again. Let's clean up as well. When we're clicking it, let's dispatch an event, say a new event score field named play again equals null. Let's clean up as well. So as a child. So let's say score field, we're gonna do that equals null. Do the same before we do that high score field child. So we're gonna do that, and I wrote do the same for our high score field, s, lowercase s, and I wrote it incorrectly. It's with a lower s. Same lowercase for our yes button, namely first tell our yes button to clean up, then remove it as a child for our yes button, namely first also remove our yes event listener, so then remove it as a child, also remove its event listener, so and then set it to null. Do that. Okay, let's dispatch that event at the very end, and then set it to null. Okay, let's dispatch that event that at the very end. So go to import. Let's keep it alphabetical. Import flash dot events dot and import that as well. So go to import. Now we need to pick that up. So let's go to our main import flash and add an event listener event. Okay, now we need to pick that up. So let's go to our main class and add an event listener to our game over screen. Now there's still one thing I'd like to change in our main class, so go up and at our function start game, now there's still one thing I'd like to change in its start menu, so go up this function being called and start game, at our function to start game, play click, excuse me, at our function in its start menu we got this function being called named start game, and change it to play click, create that function play click, so and call the function start game as well as start menu cleanup. Just remove the start menu start game from our start game as function, well as remove the requirements or the arguments. Just remove the start menu cleanup. Yes. From our start game function, remove we just requirements or the arguments our game over screen. So yes. And now at our play again, remove its event listener. We just remove or clean up our game over screen. So we tell it to remove its event listener removed as a child, and we tell it to be null. We tell it to be removed as a child, and then we tell to start our game, and we tell it to be null. Let's see how that looks like. And then we tell to start our game. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, I forgot to remove our score display, but let's see what happens if I pray yes. Okay, at least it starts again, so that works. I just forgot to remove our score display, but let's see what happens if I pray yes. We got okay, namely game over, so that works. Game just forgot to remove and also let's elaborate on that. Namely, we got namely as game over, we say game dot clean up null, and also let's elaborate on that. Display be removed. Remove it as a child, that game, we'll make it null, and we will also make that score display be removed. Yeah, and if we're now gonna start the game again, display null, it should work nicely. Yeah, and if we're now gonna start the game again, it should work nicely. Test. Great, so our high score is being saved and it's also being updated, so that's great. Test. And when we play again, great, so our high score is being saved right, and so, yeah, it's also being updated, so that's great. And when we play again, also everything seems to work right. So yeah, a great success, I say. Great.